Hey, happy holidays, Nick's forecast. It's the 26th of December, day after Christmas. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Get some rest or whatever. Anyways, gonna keep rocking out the broadcast because got lots to say. And today I want to talk about land prospecting in city suburb areas. This is an investor or real estate agent, so not as much, but if you're an investor or real estate agent or buyer, this is an area you can exploit. Even a seller you can exploit. This is something I learned in '95 when I first started doing real estate. I had this guy in my office, and he's still doing real estate. He's been doing real estate probably 45 years or so, something like that. He's been doing it since he was in college when he graduated from University of Washington. Anyway, he's been in real estate a long time. He was a mortgage broker too. He still was in the Puget Sound region. He's got his own company. He just does his own thing. But he'd show how to do this a long time ago. I just kind of watched, learned, asked a lot of questions. And this is another sideline of my business I never told my brokers about. Broker owners or mortgage brokers or what I worked for, or company I owned, I didn't really talk about it at all. This is something me and my cousin did as a side hustle, and we made money on it. And there's a lot of things I never talked about. I just did because the people around were just idiots and they don't understand anything. They don't teach the stuff, any of the stuff you have to learn on your own. Even if you're a commercial real estate agent, you should be looking for this stuff too anyways. On a residential note, even commercial note, basically this guy showed me how to prospect for in basically outside of cities, and you're looking for houses with big lots that you could subdivide. Now, there are some rules in some cities because most of the land change use acts basically around 98, 99, 2000 are coming back to bite the cities and the suburbs pretty bad. This is all across the country, more so on the East Coast and the West Coast, especially in the West Coast. And essentially, so you have a lot of these townhouses going up, which is cool because a lot of these townhouses, the builders might get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 on them, 20 if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots. They might get one lot, they might get it, tear down a house and knock it up and put up 4 or 5 of these and make a good sized profit. So I'm all in for that. And it's all about the profit. And this is if you're a buyer, investor, a real estate agent, you should be doing this as a side hustle. And basically, if you're a real estate agent, you have investors. If you're investors, you have a real estate agent looking for this. It's a side hustle. Since you're going through the title companies and basically you're looking for certain areas, they have bigger lots in the subdividing. So that's a 25,000 square foot lot. You can divide it in half, 12,500. And it might be relatively flat for the most part. And you might be able to get it and subdivide the lot. If you're selling the lot, or if you were an investor buyer, you get it and you subdivide the lot. A lot of times, most of us have the big lot, the house. They don't know that they can do this. Church, if you got to send out mail pretty consistently, but send them out for certain houses over a wide range of or whatever area you're trying to do it. So it's going to be different. When I was in Seattle for all my adult life and all my kid life, pretty much, my whole life, basically, I would go ahead and I would hit South Seattle. Now, South Seattle where I hit was basically West Seattle and basically all these other parts of Seattle, South Seattle, all the way down and also to the east side where they have Bellevue, Medina, some of these other areas. There are certain areas like in West Bellevue, Old Bellevue, which are better than East Bellevue. But basically you could buy the houses where they had big lots, older homes that were built, and you could buy them. They're still out there, and you can. Same thing in Portland. East Portland's actually a pretty good area. There's some good opportunities down there. North Portland, South Portland. There's some good areas down there going down when you start heading to the city, in the Beaverton, Corvallis area. Bay Area, Marin County is kind of tough because it's been so exploited. And you're going down into Silicon Valley area, Santa Clara, not so good. But if you go up across the bridge past Oakland, and you keep driving to Contra Costa County, keep going that way, there's deals out there. You want to look at older neighborhoods that you can get. If you get out of Marin County and you're going north towards Bodega Bay and some of those other areas, sometimes you can get some stuff. And I'm not talking Point Reyes. That's still Marin County. You got to go past the Bodega Bay and keep going at 101. Anyways, so and basically in Seattle, South Seattle area, basically I'd go and look, and I knew what areas to hit because I grew up in some of these areas. And so the way the laws are, because I was right outside the city, and even in the city, there's a lot of homes that are older homes because they have a lot of that homes built in the 60s and 50s and 40s. And a lot of these homes, basically, I used to go out, I'd send out mailers direct for them. Remember, direct response, I'd send it out. So if you're an investor, it's cool. Now, being a real estate agent, mortgage broker was cool because I would go ahead and I'd buy some of these properties off market. And then what I would do is I'd go ahead and subdivide the lots with my cousin. And sometimes we'd build, and sometimes we'd sell off the lots to a small builder we knew that built a house. Or sometimes you might get 2 or 3 lots. This is some side hustle stuff we used to do nobody knew about. And so we'd market and do it. So the thing is, you have to check your cash flow, see what it is. But see, the cool part is you can buy the stuff with a 3% down Fannie Mae or an FHA. I wouldn't say FHA or VA. Keep those separate. Keep that out of the reach for something else, like if you're actually going to live in the house. But for like a 3% down, 5% down, certain types of 0 down, they're good. So you buy the property, you get it. Wait about 3 months or so after you have the property, get some payments on it, and then go ahead and start the subdivision process and start moving it out. And then you subdivide the lot off, and basically you still have intact the house and property where it's currently at, but the only things you subdivide you're trying to get 2 to 3 lots per property if it's big enough. You can get 2 lots, great. And it just depends on the area, and you might be able to build a spec house, or you might be able to build a house on it. You have to really check with the zoning regulations because it's going to be different outside the city area, especially in a county. In a county area, if you can get it, it's a good thing to do because the regulation stuff is as back as county and not a city. Now, that's not always the case because it may be not being a non-incorporated area, but usually the city is right outside the small city or cities outside of a bigger city. The regulations not as bad and they're open to build and you can do more stuff. So if you're an investor, and I'm talking to investors and real estate agents out there, you can start prospecting for these and start doing it. So even in Seattle, where they across the board is 850, but it's not always the case in Seattle. You go over to Seattle city, going south, Seattle towards Burien and some of these other areas going south, SeaTac. That's not the case because most of the time the cities are fairly lenient for the most part. You can get away with a lot of stuff because I used to do it. On the east side too, you can do that. Portland the same way. Bay Area the same way. LA is different. LA is kind of different because LA County is so monster, 50 miles each direction from the center. But I would say if you're going in LA, I would go, you want to go up, basically go I-5 north, going up that direction. And I'm not talking LA County or I'm talking Ventura County, excuse me. St. Louis Obispo County, but you go interior, don't go near the water. And you start looking at some of these areas, but you have these older neighborhoods you can buy. See, the cool thing about commercial too, is that commercial, you can do that too. And there are subdivisions and stuff that you can do. You can subdivide some of these, especially if you got a builder, an investor builder, or if you're an investor builder, you can subdivide it up and put up warehouses. Right now, if I was doing commercial right now, and you're an investor, you need to start looking at warehouses besides apartment buildings, because apartment buildings are the deal I was talking about. But right now, warehouses, because right now they need warehouse space and they couldn't build enough warehouse space. They need 1 billion square feet of warehouse space in the United States, and they're not even close because of all the stuff going on with all the ports. Warehouses right now are a good deal, and those can be highly profitable like an apartment building. I know it's kind of going off the Grant Cardone, going off a little bit different, because he sticks to multifamilies, which I'm totally for about 1,000%. He's the only guy talking about it right now. But also too, if you could do that and you could build facilities like that, you can do it. Because the cool part is you could basically get a property And so a lot of times agents don't know what the hell they're doing anyways. You get a commercial property, you might be able to subdivide the lot and put your own warehouse on one and then sell the other two off to some other investor that buys it, and they can put those up or whatever. So what I'm saying to you is it's not so much speculation as you are basically buying the properties. If you're residential, you're buying them, and basically you're subdividing to put a house. Sometimes you put a fourplex on it. In commercial, it's a bit different because there's more regulatory process in the cities, but there are some leniencies that let you do things. And especially if it's a good property and it's a good piece of land, it's good to go. Like South LA, after those riots a long time ago, a lot of those areas weren't developed. And I know that there's talk in some of the papers about developing in some of those areas, because I would, if I was an investor, I'd put warehouse all around South LA, because the thing is there's a lot of money to be made there because they don't have enough space. But in addition to that, there's a lot of big properties there you can subdivide up into different things. So, that's going to be an area that's going to be looked at in South LA. Where a lot of those areas where they burnt a long time ago, they're still vacant. A lot of those are going to, I know some areas are starting to develop down there in warehouse space because they needed it. But if I was an investor and you had the cash, that's something I would do, because you can get the banks to finance a lot of that, and they'll put the stuff up. You'll have to done it in 2 seconds. I mean, it'll be the fastest rents you ever see, and you can overcharge on the lease space because right now they have nowhere to put all that, basically put all the product, so to speak. So anyways, that's something to look at. But if you guys are just investor just doing residential stuff and you're a real estate agent, you should be hitting this and start looking around. This is another side hustle. Even if you're an investor and you're buying apartment buildings and you're doing whatever, or you're buying houses and flipping them or whatever you got going on, or holding them, you start looking at the properties. And basically, it's not hard if you got a good real estate agent to go ahead and start looking at it. If the property doesn't have to be completely flat, but if as long as it's relatively flat, you're pretty much good to go. But even then, you don't even have to build it. What I'm saying is you can get it, subdivide it, and sell the lot off. And I would tell you to do this too. This is stuff they don't talk about. When you sell the lot, on the lot, if it's a like Seattle right now, yeah, you get that lot will move quick. But to really move, let's say the lot's worth $300,000 for the lot, and let's say the lot's a 10,000 square foot lot, you subdivided it. Well, selling it at $240. So you move it fast, you get it off your books, because remember, it's all profit. I know you want to get the maximum profit, or sell it at $250. You want to get the max profit. But the thing is, sell it at 80% of value, so you can move it quick, so it doesn't sit on it, even though it's all paid off or whatever. But the thing is that you don't want to hold your money up. See, the thing is, sometimes the greed gets people and you overplay it. So what I used to do is get those lots and sell them at 70 to 30% of value, because I'm gone. Even though I owe nothing on the lots, I just wanted them gone because I wanted the cash to invest in something else and put something else together. So remember, you always have to remember the greed factor when you're doing this. So you got a lot that's worth $300, sell it at $240, $250, just get rid of it. But and just get the cash and move. You've got a certain amount of time after that to reinvest into something else. You don't get hosed. Tax-wise, talk to your tax attorney, talk to your accountant, and that's the stuff that you need to do. But this is another area of profitability. And if you're going to send out postcards, which I used to do, remember, a direct response. If you're an investor, offer some kind of cash incentive or some type to do it. If you're a real estate agent, offer some type of other incentive for the seller to do it. I don't know. You can figure out what you need to do. Every state's different, so you can figure out what you need to do as far as incentives goes, and what you can do is fair, and also too what your office designated brokers will allow. Basically, when I used to do it as an agent, I would do it as an investor. I usually offer a trip. I used to have a company that had a trip to Vegas, and I'd give them $500 after that. Or, I figured other cash incentive stuff that I could do, which basically stay within the state law, which are okay. The problem is that I would tell you, go to 100% shop that's not a franchise, that you can do this, because you'll have more usually flexibility, you generally with the brokers if you're a real estate agent. If you're with a franchise shop, it kind of sucks because they won't allow you to do anything. That's why I always went with independents. I wasn't with very few franchises except the beginning of my career. Went in a franchise for a little while, but I was there for like 4 months, 5 months, and I left. I just went back to another shop that I was opening up, and I went there. It was a 100% shop. Because a lot of times the 100% shops, the designated brokers generally, or the broker owners, one, they don't know what they're doing. Two, they don't train you. And three, they're opportunities for themselves, but not really for you. So remember that. But these are opportunities for an investor to meet more people and to get into more stuff because that owner, maybe they own more properties. Also, too, if you're a real estate agent, it's an opportunity for you to get a listing, or potentially, if you can't work a deal, but you might get a listing out of it, or potentially, you get a subdivision deal where you get the sale, and basically your buyer gets to subdivide it. They build a house, you sell it, or they want to sell the lot, or for yourself, which is even cool, where you go ahead and buy the property, subdivide a lot, you take the cash and move out, or you build a house on it. A lot of it gets down to, if you're going to build specs, is what kind of loans you can get to build. Now, I'm going to tell you this again, like I say this over and over again, stay away from banks unless you got a lot of money invested, unless you got a few million in the bank or some, with credit lines already. The banks, they have terrible appraisers. They stink. It's very hard to get anything done, even though they're all alternate A's. Usually only smaller banks or credit line or credit unions have that, but they still suck. You want to go with a mortgage broker because a mortgage broker's got, besides the stupid conventional stuff, they've got the alternate A, which they usually lend on for building, and they do have some non-prime stuff, which is subprime, which you use. They've got some other stuff you can use if you're, and this is for building purposes. If you're going commercial, I've got access to commercial funding you can get where you can build, and it's really good. Also, too, if you have a mortgage broker in your area, talk to them. If you got a mortgage broker, make sure the mortgage broker does residential and commercial. Have them do both. You want them to have expertise on both. So, big thing about it is you got to have all your paperwork in line, have your LLC set up. After you subdivide it and you put that project into play to build, you're going to get basically, depending on how it's set up, you'll get your draws. You'll have your builder, unless you're contracting yourself and you're subcontracting out for your foundations, electrical, plumbing, framing, whatever. I don't care if it's residential, commercial, it's the same stuff. Or if your HVAC, whatever. You have this all calculated into your cost, or if you have a builder doing it, and then so you can calculate commissions. Once you pay it off, it's sent out. Anyways, all that stuff, you're going to factor that in. But the thing is, this is another profitable way. If you're an investor, you meet more people. Also, too, you wait for you to profit, make some cash. Also, too, as a real estate agent, they wait for you to get more listings, into profit, and make more cash. But you need a mail program to do it. And this is specific because basically this is profit activator number one, where you're hitting a target market. Okay. And so as I go through, also too, basically, so it's a target market. Number two, direct response marketing. Basically, because you're sending that out. And also two, basically what happens when you're sending your profit activator 3, when you're hitting your market, basically you know exactly what market you're going to hit. Sorry, I said I don't remember them all because I got so much stuff in my head. But what I'm saying to you is go to ilovemarketing.com and get the DNA for the profit activator. It's something you need to know. I don't care if you're an investor, buyer, real estate agent, mortgage broker, insurance agent too. You should know these anyways. But the thing is so essentially there's your target market, there's your direct response. There's basically going to be your let's see. Basically the type of prospect you hit, and I was going to say, is unique offer, unique service proposition. So those 4. So basically, when you send a postcard, remember your target market. So target market is going to be this type of house built between this year and this type of size of lot. So I made a house maybe built from 1940 to, let's say, to year 2000. It might have this size lot. You're going to send them there. Also, too, if you get a response back, you got to check it out with the city, county, whatever, to see if it's buildable. Okay. So you need to check that out. That's something you can check. The real estate agent can check with the title company. Remember, with title companies, the big thing with title companies, it's the title examiner, their title plant. The title examiner is the big deal with the title company. Always remember this, because the title company is not worth a damn if they don't have good title examiners. Okay, because I can sit there and go through and read you titles, basically Mets, meters, basically straight horizontal lines, all that stuff to go through, north, south, east, west, blah, blah, blah. I probably should have been a title examiner. But anyway, so they don't mean a whole hell of a lot if they don't know how to read it. The title rep works basically the real estate agent, mortgage broker, because that's their primary market. So they can do a lot. Of some states they can't do much. If you're like Washington State or Oregon, you got to pay for it. The agent, so you're gonna have to pay your agent some cash flow to get it, or whatever. Or the agent's gonna buy it for you anyways to do it because you're doing business with whatever. But so what happens? You get it on a CD, or they can print it off for you. Tell them to print it off for you, and then you go ahead and you start sending those out once a month. Or you get a CD and you do a bulk mail and you do it that way. That's another way to do it, however you want to do it. There's some people I know that used to do waterfront stuff or viewfront properties, and viewfront and waterfront are two completely different beasts. Okay, they're way different. Waterfront and viewfront are not the same thing. But so the thing is, there's money to be made out there prospecting for land of houses or commercial properties where you can subdivide them. You can sell those properties off, or you can build on them. Okay, so if you're an investor, it's the same thing. You basically, here's your target market. Okay, your direct response offer, the market you're trying to hit, your unique selling proposition. So those are the for-profit activators. One day I'll get into each detail of each one and go into it. But what I'm trying to convey to you, though, this is a market you can exploit. And I don't care what the economy is, but you can exploit it because people are always looking for. I remember 2008 when the whole world of real estate went belly up, and it was pretty bad. I'd say after 2009, right at mid-2009, I saw builders coming out in Seattle starting to build again after the smoke kind of cleared. So it was late 2009, they started building. And basically they had properties that were subdivided, like I'm talking about. Builder or the real estate agent bought the lot, they subdivided it, built the house, sold. Okay, people love new construction. They like it. It's brand new. They can touch it. No one's in it, and it's new. So that's an opportunity there. Also, too, the other opportunity is if you buy the property, you subdivide it, you run it out, you remodel it, drop that property off. I always tell people, as soon as you buy the property, make a few payments on it, and then start moving on your subdivision. You need a good real estate attorney to do this. It's going to cost you some money, but that's just the way it goes. The mitigation factors and all that stuff vary from city to city, county to county, so you have to check onto it, but I would do it anyways, because the thing is, you're still going to make money. Money. That's what it gets down to, is the cash flow. And I know this because I've done this plenty of times before. And so a lot of these are different angles on different ways that you can make money for your pocket. So if you're an investor, it's a cool thing because it puts you off into a different area. Something else you can do. Sometimes, a lot of times with these properties, an owner will buy it, but they don't realize that the property's already been subdivided, and it might have 3 lots on it. I've bought properties like this, and I didn't say anything to the owner, and basically got it off market, and I could subdivide 3 lots off it, and I got the lots and sold them off. Me and my cousin made a mint on. So, a lot of these, there's a lot of naysayers and negative people and all that stuff. Get away from them. Don't let people kind of get in your hustle, and you don't tell anybody about your hustle. You keep it within your own little group, or whatever you got going on, and so you get money. Because this is how you get successful. This is how you start doing stuff. The apartment buildings, those are first. Keep doing that. Buy the apartment buildings, a 4-plex, 5-plex, 6-plex, 10-plex, 20-plex, whatever. keep buying apartment buildings because that's the way to go. But this is a cool side hustle in addition to doing that. If you're starting out, it's a good way to buy a house, see if you can subdivide it. If I was buying a house, I want to see how big the land is. Fine, then I'll move an extra 5 miles away, because if I get the land big enough, first thing I want to look at is, can I subdivide the lot? That's what I look at, subdivide the lot. You know, I get calls tonight buying, and they're buying here, and I'll tell them where to buy. Look to buy where you're going to get it. North Seattle, when you pass Seattle and you pass Shoreline, Edmonds, up in to as you keep going further up into Linwood, and you keep going further up towards Everett. There's a place called 99 that goes up to this town called Mukilteo. It's waterfront property. It's really cool. They got good stuff. A lot of people aren't going to talk about it, but up in that area where basically Linwood is, on this old highway 99, basically there's a lot of areas off there, basically from Edmonds Shoreline all the way up to Mukilteo on 99, because that's where it stops. Well, it goes to Everett. This is another highway. Just say it goes 99, goes to Everett, and further up towards, they call it Marysville. Anyways, but the thing is going north, but there's a lot of areas on that side 99, because it's off, let's say 4 or 5 miles, 6 miles, depending where you're at, from I-5, which is a major arterial from basically the border, which is Blaine, Washington, Bellingham, all the way down to San Diego. But they always have these ulterior highways everywhere. California's 101. But anyway, so but there's a lot of these areas down there. I used to find properties, and then I would subdivide them and sell them off. And I would do it. I'd go through the whole process. I didn't care. The money wasn't a big deal. I mean, it would cost, because we'd just do it. So I'm saying to you is that there's a whole ton of property still in these areas where you can buy and you can work it. Okay, yeah, the house might cost you $800,000, $750, whatever, fine. But the thing is, the lot's big enough where it's a half acre, 3/4 acre lot. I could subdivide it, and it's flat. I could subdivide it and get 2-3 lots out of it. And I could turn around and just sell those off. And I'll just live in the house for 6-8 months, and I'll turn around and rent it out, and I'm gone. Thing is, because the interest rates are so low, you can get away with this stuff. When I was started out, interest rates for 8%, 10%, 12%, 14%, just depending on what you had going on. Let's just say the average rate was anywhere from 7.75% to 8.5%. That's on a conventional loan. You know what I mean? Some of the Alt-A loans were better rated out than the damn conventional loans. The same thing's true right now. And so there's other ways you can work it. If you're buying an ARM, that might be a good way to go. If you build, buying an ARM is not a bad thing. It's a good way to go, because a lot of loans are done like that. Right now, I wouldn't do a 30-year loan. I'd do a 15-year if you're going to keep it and run it out and just get the damn thing paid off. Or if you do it, you're going to juice out and refinance again, because you know it's going to go up, then do it. But the cool part is, because the rates are so low, you can get over on the system and you can totally work it. And that's kind of a advantageous for you as an investor, as a buyer that's buying maybe a first property, or first or second or third property. Investor, you own multiple properties. Or if you're a real estate agent or mortgage broker, but more of a real estate agent, because you start looking for these properties, it's another side hustle for you. It's just, a lot of times, most of these agents don't do any of this stuff because no one's ever showed them how to do it. Someone didn't really show me in the office. I was 95, which doesn't even exist anymore. Company doesn't even exist anymore. And most of the agents that were there are gone anyways, but he was the only one doing it. And he didn't really show it to me. I just saw him talking about it one time to this other guy, another agent that was off in this office that we were at, that didn't even work in the office. He worked out of his house because he had a couple other businesses on the side. He still was selling a house here and there. But this is when I first learned about it. And I started asking all these questions continuously to find out more about it. And I just started figuring it out on my own. I remember when I started in 95, I had the worst car in my office. I got fired from this office, but still in the first 6 months of my 6th month, which was December, I still did 10 deals in a month. And I blew everybody off the board, and I did it all off the phone. So basically, you got to hustle to make cash in a real estate business. It's all about hustle. Grant Cardone talks about this all the time. always talks about it. Oh, Mike Ferry. I go to MikeFerry.com. Go to Mike Ferry, his YouTube channel. He has this thing he came out about the real estate test. And if you're a real estate agent, you should be looking at that. He's old school. He's an old school dude. I was in his coaching program for 2 years. And so it's a good program if you use it. But anyways, he's an old school guy. He's one of the last of the old school trainers. Just probably, probably only does it here and there. And he's got his other staff doing everything. But watch the real estate test for your real estate agent. Even if you're not a real estate agent, you're a buyer, investor, look at it. Because a lot of these questions I've told you before, if you decide to go in the real estate industry and get your real estate license, you need to know this stuff. And you need to know about time management, what things you need to prospect for, things you need to do. Because as a real estate agent, you're doing a lot of stuff. A lot of real estate agents, things have changed because of COVID, because there's no more of this floor time or this other stupid stuff. Generally, most offices don't do it now. Leads come in through a central office, they do it, but most people have their own cell phones. So everything's kind of changed on that. But the thing is, you have to prospect yourself. If you're an investor looking for this, you're going to have to prospect for yourself. So you might have a designated area you want to hit. If you're a buyer and your first time, second or third time buyer trying to get into this game and play it, this is stuff you need to look for. And this is separate from apartment building stuff, which I'll get into detail with an upcoming broadcast. So land prospecting, this is for pretty much city and suburb areas. It's different. The country areas, like where I live, it's a different deal, because the thing is, there's land everywhere and you can build and subdivide all day long. I know one guy that owns 100 acres. He's subdividing 3-acre lots as he's building houses on his property. He owns 100 acres on it. So he's going to build a bunch of houses, sell them off, make a good sized profit and walk. But 6 years time, 5 years time, the real estate prices near near Lake of the Ozark gone way up. So Jefferson City and Columbia over the University of Missouri's, that's all gone way up. University of Missouri's right now, the population, they added 20,000 people. They're at like 125,000 people, 126,000 people they've added. So what I'm saying is opportunities. Even in this area, there's opportunities. But this is more of a country area. Now, if you're in St. Louis, Kansas City, Chicago, Memphis, Nashville, even in Bentonville, Little Rock, Arkansas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, down into some of the areas of Texas down there, in College Station, whatever. When you're in these suburb areas, it's a different deal. Or in the main cities, they've always got areas that you can look at. Dallas, Fort Worth's an hour from Dallas. It's different. Like in Seattle, you're looking up from basically Burlington. You're essentially Burlington, because it's starting to grow. Cedar Woolley. You're starting to work your way all the way down I-5 corridor and working through Everett area and basically Linwood, that's Snohomish County, and essentially you're working all the way through Seattle into Kent, Renton, basically Federal Way, all the way down to Tacoma, all the way down into Thurston County where the capital Olympia is at, because that's kind of the corridor right now. You got everything slammed up against what they call the East Wall, which is basically east of the mountains, which is basically the east side, which goes all the way to South Dakota. For all you people who don't know, that goes through Billings. Actually, Billings, I went through there last year. Anyways, went through there. That whole area, really, they got 150,000 people in Billings. That's a good area, growth area, Montana. South Dakota, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Fargo. Those areas are growing a lot. If you go back into Iowa, into Sioux City, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, all those areas are growing too. I'm thinking Iowa, but a lot of people are moving there. And the Dakotas too. Billings also. Spokane is really booming up. That whole area into Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene's an hour away. Twin Falls, Idaho. People haven't talked about Twin Falls, Idaho. Twin Falls, you'd be surprised up in that area. There's a lot of movement going up there. It's a lot of mining and a bunch of other stuff. But you got a lot of people going up into those areas. Why I'm bringing this up, there's always areas you can hit. Going down Portland, passing Beaverton, all the way down to Eugene to the Oregon-California border. Then you get the Oregon-California border, a lot of country areas. So you start going towards into Sacramento. So, there's a lot of areas in there that you can really exploit, and you can take advantage of it. And this is just for anywhere you live. Right now, the Southwest is really booming. The Midwest, the Southeast is really booming right now in a lot of areas. Nashville, especially. Nashville's got a lot of stuff on there. Areas in Nashville. I mean, there's a lot of areas you can do it. Even in Kentucky, in Louisville area, it's a lot of people moving in. Even in Charleston, West Virginia, and West Virginia is getting a bad rap for a lot of stuff. But the thing is, West Virginia and Charleston, a lot of companies are moving in there because it's less expensive, especially tech companies in the East Coast. So I'm saying to you, there's opportunities there, and that's why I'm bringing it out as basically a big area that you can exploit because nobody's doing it, and basically it's pretty few for team. Remember, if you're a real estate agent, it's a side hustle. Mortgage broker, side hustle. More real estate agent, a mortgage broker, side hustle. Investor, it's just another area that you can exploit. If you're just a buyer, you're looking for things to do, ways to make money, this is another area to go. So if you have questions, go to nickforecast.com, nickforecast.com, and basically that. And let's see here. There we go. It's something stupid back retarded on my system this time. Anyway, there we go. It took long enough because I forgot to hit the button. Oh well. So it's forecast.com. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Basically, I'm going to tell you the stuff that people aren't going to tell you, whether you're doing residential or commercial. You're an investor, you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're an agent, you're a mortgage broker. I'm going to talk to stuff about stuff that I'm not going to talk about. And the reason that is because I already know I was in the business for over a quarter of a century, and I've already done a lot of stuff. And I've done a lot of stuff that people can't do and don't know how to do, and they don't know how to put deals. Remember, the biggest thing in real estate is finance. Finance is the key. When I look at Grant Cardone, he's buying all these properties. Yeah, what he's doing. But that's what you need to look at. So anyways, you guys have a good one. Happy holidays. Go to nickforecast.com in the back. Go to nickforecast.com. Subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you soon.